Today I'm going to make a Suncatcher, and I'm going to make my own cats. Hi, this is Tweek. I wanted to make a Suncatcher with beads, cat beads that I'm making out of polymer clay. Join us! Supplies you need for this project are, you will need beads and wire. You will need some polymer clay to make your cats. You will need 2 6-inch floral craft rings, tools to manipulate the wire and to set the hooks that you put into your holder. You'll need shellac and wood glue. In this project, I'm going to use 6 of the prism ball beads and a couple of bells. So let's get started. I got the idea to make this Suncatcher, and I wanted to make it cats. Sun-Cat-Cher. Funny, huh? Anyways, first thing we do is get out your polymer clay. Polymer clay, you never want to work with polymer clay on a surface that's not a countertop or a piece of wood. The clay might leach into other materials. So you want to make sure you put down a material that will protect your surface. I had just odd bits and pieces of clay left, and I thought, let's make use of them. Kitty cats come in all different colors, and the whole goal here is to make a cat bead, and I don't want it to be too big. This is maybe a little over an inch high. The polymer clay is lightweight, so it's going to fit nicely on the Suncatcher. I'm just going to split them up a little bit. I think this is going to be a tortoiseshell color cat, so I'll save back some white, and I've got some pink here, a little bit of pink for the nose. And I've got a couple of beads here for the eyes and some wire that we'll use for the whiskers. So let's start by rolling some of this out. Just warm up the clay with my hands and just going to play around with it a little bit. Your cat could be any color you want to make it. Okay, I'm not really paying much attention to how I'm doing this. I'm just rolling the colors, making them softer. This is going to be interesting, huh? And what I'm going to do now is just mess it up, roll it up, twist it around, and make it into a ball. Now this is way more, this chunk is way more than I need to make my cat. See, it would be too big. Now as I start looking at it, I like the stripes. I'm going to pull off a chunk of it. It's going to keep changing until I stop manipulating it. It's about the size I want, so that'll be the base of my kitty. And all I've got to do now is decide I need 4 little balls to make his feet. I'm going to stop there. I'll adjust those in a minute, but I want to use this back piece to make a tail. Let's see how that's turning out. I'm going to redo this and make feet, but I want to be a little bit smaller, so I want 4 little chunks. So I've got the tail. I've only got a tiny bit of white, so I'm going to be judicious with this. I'll take a little tiniest bit of white and get it soft. I'm just going to plop it onto the end of this tail. That's an interesting little tail, isn't it? Now I'm going to stick it on the back. Let's see, where do I want his front? Look around and see what looks like where you want the colors. I think this looks like a nice cat back. So I'm going to put the tail right here. I'm just going to press it into the bottom of the ball. And I'll bring that up a little bit. So there, that's what we have so far. And now I said the little feet. 2 back feet are bigger than the 2 front feet. Okay, now this one's a little bit big, so I'll take it off. See how the colors are all different? So I've got 2 larger, 2 smaller, and here's the back of the cat. I'm just going to push them on there. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very unfussy, right? And then I'm going to press it down a little bit. I said I wanted a little bit of white. Oh, I have just the tiniest bit of white. And I'm going to sneak some of that away for his front 2 little mittens on the front feet. Is that your name going to be Mittens? Press that down, make it a little thinner, and I'm just going to lay it across the front of his paw. So lay that there, and then do the same on the other side. See how there's a little bit of differences of colors? There's some other color in this white here. I like that. We got that far. His face is going to be right here on the front. And the way I'm going to make that is, first I want to get a bearing onto what kind of ears. I like the idea of these gray ears. I'm not sure why. I had these 2 chunks of gray here. They have different colors in them. So I'm going to make 2 little balls. So I'm going to make this into a triangular shape. I'm just going to stick it on the side of the ball for his ears. So 2 triangles. I got to decide if that's what I want. I kind of like it. And I'm just going to press gently. Let's see, I've got a little nut pick here. I'm just going to press a little bit so that the ears, I want them to stay in place. Just press a little bit into the clay. I'm going to take the back end of this nut pick. They've got all kinds of tools here, clay tools that you can use. And I'll use them to form, I think I'm going to use this one's got more of a tip on it. And I'm going to come in and give the kitty some more definition in his ears. That one really does look like the inside of a kitty ear. And then I'm going to manipulate a little more. Now I've got, I'm just going to very gently come back behind the ears right about in there. And I'm just going to wiggle through. And I don't want to push too hard because I don't want to mess up his shape. I'm kind of going to work my way through the clay till I come out the bottom. That leaves a nice big hole for beading. And I'm just going to clean up the back, the 4 feet. That's what he looks like on the side. He got his ears. Almost done, kitty, right? Now, to do the eyes, I set the eyes first and then I put the nose and things around him. And I've got little glass beads here. So I'm just going to pick a spot on his face. And if they're farther apart, wider apart, the cat seems to be cuter. And I'm just going to go ahead and push those in. Now he's getting some more definition in his face. And now I'm going to start adding some white. Look at this white has gray and brown in it. That's perfect for doing this kind of thing because kitties come in all different sizes and go down towards, it looks like it's coming all the way down towards his chest. That's okay with me. Okay, now I've got these 2 on either side, but before I add them as like little cheeks, I'm going to start manipulating his face. This means his nose is going to be coming in here between his eyes. I've got this pick that I'm using. It's got a curve to it. So I'm going to push in and press, and I'm going to lift up. Okay, and I'm starting to get his face. I'm going to push in and lift up. It's going to be a happy cat. And then I'm going to take this end and I'm just going to put a little bit of a dent. I want a little bit of a mouth there. And I'll probably end up pushing that out. When I see the face I like, then I'll know to stop. He looks a little bit muppety right now, but then I'm going to take these 2 pieces and put them on either side of where his nose is going to be, kind of creating a little spot for his nose. See that? So that where I'm putting these 2 little dots that represent his cheeks, you're setting up a space to put his nose. So you're just getting cuter and cuter, aren't you? It's just a matter of just pushing it around until you see if you like what you've got. This part in here is bothering me a little bit. I think I want a little more white, like I want a ruff around his chest there. So I'm going to take a little bit of this white and put it right over the gray, tuck it under his chin. A little tiniest bit of pink for his nose. See? So all I'm going to do is try to make it a little more triangular, a little more flat. If it's too small, you add clay, and if it's too big, you pull the clay away. It's all up to you. How big do you want your kitty nose to be? He's getting cute, isn't he? He needs a little more character. So at this point, I'm going to take some of this red that's sitting around, and I'm going to make some eyebrows for some expression. I just take a little chunk. It's thinner on one side. I'm just going to lay it over his eyes. You just keep working with it until you like. And I see he's got a bit of an attitude just with one eye. So I'm thinking, what kind of a cat are you? You're going to be a mean cat? I don't like that. Let's do the other eye. Now I want him to be a little less menacing, so I'm going to pull up that just a little bit to give him more wider eyes, mean a friendlier animal. Okay, then I'm going to come on each side and I'm going to put little dents. Just funny how just a little bit of clay fixes the whole attitude of the animal. So we got his eyes set. I want to work on his mouth a little more. I'm going to come into that spot right under the nose. And I'm going to come up a little more. Define his mouth a little more. Give him a little more pooter in there. Okay. And then I'm going to come in here, just make little lines to make him look more fluffy. Okay, so far, I like you, kitty. I smushed up your ears. Let's fix his ears. We have the general circle, his head, his body are all one big fat circle. I gotta come into this mouth. And then I gotta give him a little more of a smile. I want him to be just a little more of a friendly cat. So I'm gonna come in. I'm smiling because I'm seeing the face that I think I want to stick with here. I have one more thing to do here because I just got the notion. I'm trying to make his smile look nice, and I like that, but right here there's a slight deficit of fur. So let's take a little more of this and make him a little bit of a chin and see if I can bring out a little more character. And there we go. Look. See how I've caved in one of his ears, but see how cute his mouth is? So we got his mouth set. The pooters are in place. Now I've completely caved in his ears. Let's bring those back. Kitties have pointy ears, so we want to make sure. And then I'm going to I'm just putzing with his ears to make him look a little better. What do we got here, kitty? Do I like you? Am I going to squish your head a little more to give you a little more of a front? Okay, here's that poker I was using. I'm going to go straight down that hole again to make sure it's there. You don't have to fuss as much as I'm fussing, but I always kind of wait until I see the face come out the way I like it. Now we're going to go like this and give him some paw marks on each paw. I want to make you a little more rough around your nose for some reason. What am I forgetting, kitty? I think your nose needs to be a little flatter on the top. And I think it needs to be a little more defined. I think what he needs now, okay, he needs whiskers. Whiskers, simple, simple. Let's see, I just take a piece of wire. I'm always saving the old bits of wire because they come in handy, like in this instance. So I'm just going to cut little strips. See, there it is. So I'm just going to hang on one end and I'm just going to snip. There's one, and I want 6 of them. And I'm going to push these pieces of wire into the clay. This is a soft wire, beading wire. And if you use something like I've used jewelry wire before, and that makes for kitties that have really pointy and just dagger whiskers. And I want soft whiskers. So I'm using this beaded wire. Now I'm going to pick up one of these, and I'm just going to place it anywhere. There's 3 per side. I'm just going to place it anywhere alongside his nose. Just randomly pushing him in. Don't worry too much about it. It's all going to look good. I want just a little more definition on either side of your nose. And I'm going to stop. One more time, make sure the hole is not closed up because I can't bead him onto a Suncatcher if he's not got the proper path there. Okay. And I think he's ready for the oven. Sounds terrible, but he'll be okay. So while that kitty's in the oven, I'm going to show you how I made strings of wire and I put beads on them. This will be what's hanging down from the Sun-Catcher. So I take some wire. I'm using the 0.018 inch beading wire. I'm taking, a couple feet. So yeah, easily. And going to snip that off. Okay, we'll save that back for later. And I'm going to start off by grabbing one of my prisms. And I'm just going to string, it's got a channel there on it. I'm going to string the wire through. That's our start. I'm trying to make sure I got enough here because I want them all to be the same length. So once I do get one made, I use that as a guide for what I'm doing. So I've got that, then I'd pick my cat. Let's use this little guy. And I'm just going to push the wire through the bottom. bring it out the top, and now I've got my cat sitting on a prism. Oh my goodness, so cute. So I'm going to take him, and now I'm going to follow a pattern that I created. I'm looking at it backwards. I've got just regular glass beads, 2 different sizes, and I've got a special bead at the top. So here's what I do. I follow the pattern. I've got different beads here. I've got these, I call these buoy beads. I am not sure what they're called, but I liked the colors and I like the shape of them. So I'm just going to put down some of these beads here. Here again, you just choose whatever color bead you want to go with your kitties. I had a lot of natural colors here, so I'm going to take a smaller bead. I think this is a 6mm bead, and I'm going to follow that up with a bigger bead. So I'll pick one of these. Some of these beads I cannot get 2 wires through, and some you can, so you just gotta, as you go, see how you want it to look. So there we go, and we just continue following this pattern so that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 beads here, then a little ending and a lobster claw on the top. So I'm going to keep continuing on. These beads are just the perfect complement for the kitties. These they're not clear, they're not pink, they're kind of a beige color. Perfect for the kitties. Oh, did I say perfect? Oh boy, sorry about that. One of these, and then we had a finding, and we had another littler bead, same kind, only smaller, 1 crimp bead, and then we need a lobster claw. I'm going to push this through the crimp bead and try to keep pushing through that little bead next to the crimp bead if I can. They should go in there. Sometimes it takes a little bit of wiggles. Okay, so that's set in place. I've got this excess wire here. I'm going to snip it close to the bead it's next to, it comes out of. And then I'm going to take that little bit of wire there and tuck it into the next bead so it disappears. And there it goes. And there you have one of our little strands for our Suncatcher. Got 6 of them done now. It's just going to be beautiful. Let's talk about how I made the holder. We use these Ashland Floral craft rings. They're 6 inches, and we're going to use 2 of them. These are MDF, so this is not a project that will hang outside. It's got to hang inside where it's protected from the weather, because this MDF does not take water or elements very well at all. What we're going to do is take 2 of these and glue them together. I used Tight Bond wood glue to glue them, and once they were glued and clamped and let to dry, then we drilled holes. There's 8 holes on the bottom. There are 5 strings that are going to come down for the outside of the Suncatcher, and then there's 3 here. They're going to hold the center of the Suncatcher. I don't usually do the center, but today I'm going to. And then there's 3 little hooks on the top, and then this whole thing was spray painted black. So that's how you do that. Let's see how these guys are going to look when we start stringing them on. Let's start pulling our cats. Got the lobster claw there, so it's just a simple thing. Just hooking them on. Who's next? This is where if you make a bunch of different kitties, you have a bunch of different options. Oh, this one's really, really cute. And I'm going to flip this over and you get an idea of how it's going to look when it's done. Oh my gosh, and they are all spiraling. Oh my gosh. I know, I sometimes just get such amusement out of things I make, and this is just cute, and I love the colors. That is the 5 of them hanging, but in the center, I want something else, and I want another strand, a little bit of different beads, the kitty that we just made, hopefully, and I would like to attach them using these 3 hooks here. So I just took some chain and I measured it out. So I had 3 lengths, the same length of the chain. And I'm going to hook one of these into each hook here. It's my big old fingers that are getting in the way. It's not the chain. There's one. Yay, don't lose it. And there's 1, 2. Crimp that down so it stays. Okay, good. And I've got the 3rd. Patience me. There we go. So here's what we've got. I'm going to crimp that so that doesn't come out. I crimped it, all right. Okay, so now what you're gonna have is these 5 hanging around the edge and the center one hanging from the center here. So let's get to the middle part. He survived the oven. There he is. So let's give him a dunk in some shellac. I've got a spoon here. This is real simple. Give it a little stir in the shellac, and I'm gonna put the kitty on the spoon elevator, and down he goes. Watch what he looks like when he comes back. I'm gonna dunk him and bring him right back up. And this is when you really see the color. Grab him by a whisker and set him up. And then I'm just gonna carefully set him down on the paper. See how quick that was? Get rid of the shellac. It stinks, but we won't be around it too much longer. And then I just let him sit for a moment and just move him out of the puddle of shellac that he's in. Just move him across the paper. And you see as the puddle gets less and less, and let him dry for a bit. So let's put you aside for just a second. I'll just set you over here and bring this back. And I'm just going to ease it over and attach the top part. And that takes care of our board here. Everything's off the board. It's excellent. This is, again, 3 chains that I had. Attached a ring at the bottom. Made sure they're the same length. Ring at the top. And I'm going to, let's see, can I do this with my fingers or should I have assistance? I think I should have assistance. Here you go. Now we're just gonna undo that ring, slide it onto the holder, and close it back up. Good, one done. And come to the next. Good. And the next. When the whole thing goes up, we're waiting now for the one that goes down the center. It's going to be a little bit different. So the center, take some wire. I had this already measured out, and we're going to add a bell to this part. So I took one of our bells and I took it apart. And when you take that little piece of string off the bell, you have the clapper that's inside and the bell, and then the little bead that goes on the top. So I'm going to take the wire and just run it through so that the clapper hangs on the bottom. Then I'm going to push the wire through the bell. Got it. That sounds good. Now we're going to put that bead on that was on the bell. So now we've got the bell strung on. Now it's time to add my kitty, but before I do that, I'm going to add one more piece just to give a little bit of a space and a little bit of shine between the bell and the cat. Now if he's dry, we can go ahead and string him on. Okay, let's see, kitty, if you're done. He is. Look at how shiny and cute. Okay, we're going to sit this wire up through the hole in the kitty, and we'll see how he looks sitting on his little spot. Now he tips forward a little bit, so I'm going to use another bead to help hold him in place. So let's choose one of our beads that we used with the others, and that will sit there and help steady the kitty. There we go. There we go. All right, we're that far. Now, to make this center a little bit different than the rest of the Suncatcher, I found these beads, and to me they look like fish color. So I went ahead and took each little bead. They're glass, so they have an iridescence to them. I don't know if you can see that. But I took each bead and put a little eyeball on each side and a little gill mark. So hopefully those will look like fish. I'm going to use them in the center here, but to make fins, these are little bead caps that I'm going to fashion into the tail of the fish to give more of an illusion of a real fish. So here we go. We're going to take our buoy beads and the fish, and we're just going to string them right up. This can be a little bit longer than the others, so I'm not concerned yet about the length. I'm just going to start going here. So let's go starting with the buoy bead, but I don't know until I push the wire through if I'm going to be able to use the bead or not. There's a good one. Okay, now I'm going to do a fish. And what I'm going to do that is push the bead through, and then I'm going to add one of these little cap beads, and I'm going to add it so that the skinny side, I'm coming down the top of the cap. And let it rest on the fish, and then I'm going to pinch it flat, and it looks like a fishtail. See? And it stays on the wire too, but I just really like that effect of a little fish there. Now, do I want to keep adding the buoy beads? This is where I have to decide. Or do I want to just have fish going all the way up? I think I do not have quite enough fish, so I'm going to add another buoy. Let's see how that looks. So now here do we decide? Oh, yep, I like that. It'll be a buoy and a fish and a buoy and a fish, and we'll get the color that way. Here comes another fish. Okay, let's see how this works. And put one of his little tails. I was trying to figure out how to use these, how to make a fishtail effect, and these bead caps just really came in handy. Okay, making me laugh. I like it. Continue on with the buoys and the fish, and away we go to the top. We will get there. Those turning out cute. I'm getting to the point here where I have to start thinking about how long I want this center one to be. It's already hanging down a little. Don't want them to hang too much further than the others. So I think we've got enough. Excellent, which means I've got enough fish here to do another one. And we're going to put an ending on here. We could use a buoy and then one of these other beads here that started and ended near the cat. Let's just use the bead. See how it looks next to the fish. Okay, I like that. And now we're going to use one of our beads here, silver beads. That helps to hide the wire that's going to be coming. And then we need a crimp bead. Get that in there. Good. And we need one of our lobster claws. We're going to feed this wire back through the crimp bead and into the bead next to it. Snap off the excess and then hide that excess wire, that little bit there. There we go. All right. Here's the center with the little fishies and the buoy beads. Let's hook them up. It's like the reveal. So he would hang. Oh my goodness. You want a little bit of sound? You've got it. You want some whimsy? You got it. Our kitties are hanging. And look at that. We made this. That's adorable. I can't wait to see the look of the face of the person that's getting this, because I think she's going to be very, very happy. Look at that. And there you have it. The kitties that we made are ready. They're sitting on their prisms. It's going to bring so much color and so much whimsy wherever they're going to hang out. So if you like what you've seen here today, give us a like, subscribe to our channel, and remember to ring the bell so you know when another episode of Tweaks with Tweek is coming along. Until then, this is so easy to do. Get some PolyClay, get some beads, create a Suncatcher of your own. See you again.